July 18th, 2513. Operation Cornerstone, Phase 1, Baby Steps. Colonel Borkowski had been able to pull in a few favors from the 47th Engineering Corps to get Firebase Citadel completed in the Virolati territory of the planet New Harmony. It is a small base, but space enough to hold a couple squads of Marines. Too bad we didn't have a couple squads of Marines. While the Colonel was able to pull in favors to get the base built, I was able to use some of my connections from my time at Corbulo to recruit some Green Marines to help us get a foothold in the area. We are headed to Viryoki Airport to pick up the new recruits now. 6 Marines, not even 2 fire teams worth. But we'll make it work, somehow. Introducing Colonel Borkowski, Major Grant, and recruits Angry, Jackson, Mira, Neko, Rookie, and Soma. After picking up the Marines, we flew back to Firebase Citadel. The Colonel and I explained the situation and plan for the day to the Boots. We had a collection of anonymous reports about an insurrectionist supply chain nearby. After gearing up, we got going on our sightseeing tour to see what we could find out about this supply chain. Our first stop was the town of Sedonkla. We got nearly nothing from this location. The locals were not too talkative, the few that we could find. Next, we went to the town of Skipari. We got a few more villagers talking to us. One particularly helpful civvy spoke to us about how entrenched the insurrectionists already were, much beyond what we had suspected. He said, and I quote, "These bastards are all over the settlement. Fuck, all over the planet at this point." I had no idea how right he was at the time. As we left Skipari, we had our first encounter with the insurrectionists themselves. We came across an IED in the road and were ambushed. We fought off the enemies and then moved into the town of Glamila. With the help of the colonial militia, we were able to clear the town. As we finished clearing the town, I heard someone humming in the distance. This was what became the first of many encounters with the individual named Koche. He was meandering through the battlefield, grabbing weapons and ammo from the fallen rebels. We didn't find out much about him other than his name, but he gave us a tip that there was something interesting at the docks of Kelkanimi. He also told me that I owed him for the information. I wasn't sure how that would turn out, but I was grateful for the tip. We followed the lead and went to Kelkanimi, where we found more rebels loading equipment into boats. We told them to drop what they were doing and surrender. The answer we got was bullets. After clearing out the docks, a second wave of armed boats showed up and fired on us along the shoreline. We were able to take them out and call in to the colonel to find out where they were coming from. With some collaboration of the colonial militia leader, Lieutenant Connor, the colonel was able to point us to the island of Suvio. We got into the boats at the docks and headed that way. Once there, we encountered more armed rebel boats and quickly dispatched them. Private Rookie learned the hard way that you shouldn't take 2 doses of morphine in a row. Pushing into the island, we found a small base of rebels here. As we began our attack, a missile artillery truck began firing. We learned afterwards that its target was our own Firebase Citadel. Luckily, none of the missiles struck the compound, and the colonel was okay. We cleared out the base and radioed in for pickup. The colonel flew a Pelican out and brought us back to Firebase Citadel. Once we returned to base, we all gathered around and had our first formal debrief. As the first of many to come, we spent a while discussing the day's events and told the colonel everything we learned. That the insurrectionists not only were here in the territory, but were much more entrenched than he and I had ever imagined. That the local militia was a resource we could call on, though we hadn't really earned their full trust yet, and of the individual named Koshé, who at the time was quite the mystery. That our Marines were few, mighty, and in need of experience. But most importantly, all of New Harmony learned that the 55th Marine Expeditionary Unit had settled in on the planet, and we had no plans of leaving. Colonel Borkowski had been able to pull in favors from the Colonel Borkowski had been able to pull in Virilati territory. Our first stop was the town of Sidankla. Our first stop was the town of Sidankla.